Hi everybody. Well, we're kicking this video off with a bit of a situation. I've got this 2020 Lexus GX460 and well, it's kind of sunk down in the snow in the ditch. So first of all, we're gonna see if we can't get it out. And then of course, we're gonna go over all of the 4x4 and off-road features on this Lexus because they're even better for 2020. We'll test out the kinetic dynamic suspension system and I will show you exactly how it works. And then of course, we'll talk about the price and whether or not it's worth it. What are we waiting for? Let's dive right in.
How did the Lexus get in the ditch though? Well, I'm about to put it there. That's because I want to recreate a real world off-road scenario with this GX. I honestly don't believe that anyone is spending $85,000 on a brand new Lexus just to go hit the hardest off-road trails around. There's a ditch, maybe you got a little bit close, you got sucked in, maybe you were just trying to park, you didn't realize how deep the snow was. This is the sort of situation a real Lexus owner might get into, and I will show you exactly why the GX is so good at getting out. So let's roll up. Oh yeah, it's getting deeper on my right side. It's lifting up. Oh no, I'm getting sucked in. I'm getting sucked in. Oh no, getting sucked in. And we are just about there. So now the GX is in the ditch. Let's see if we can get her out. So first of all, I have it down in 4-low already. All of the off-road gear is operated on a switch bank down here by my right hand. It's all nice and close together. And they're actually these nice physical little toggle switches. I quite like them. So first of all, down into 4-low. Then I set the multi-terrain select. I'm gonna set it at mud and sand mode. There is no snow mode, but mud and sand, probably the closest to what we're dealing with. And then let's go ahead and use crawl control. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on, and then you can select 5 different speeds. I'm gonna leave it on its lowest speed. Crawl control's on. I'm gonna lift my foot off the brake. Crawl control will essentially use my throttle and my brake for me, so I just forget about the feet and steer. I have snow tires, a bit of a climb here, but I don't think this Lexus will have any issue getting out. Oh yeah, and one other thing. This thing does have adaptive height suspension, so you can lift up, but you can only lift the back end. It's a little funny. You can see the shot here. Just the rear end lifts, so you get a much better departure angle, and your breakover is gonna be a little bit better as well. So I got my rear end up. Here we go, crawl control. Yeah, pretty much like it was nothing. Now, I do have snow tires on here. That's contributing a lot. Now, the one thing I will say about this crawl control system, some of the systems have gotten better at being a little quieter, but you must have heard it there. This thing is not quiet. It still uses the ABS, so it's constantly pulsing the ABS at you. It's definitely loud and pronounced when it's doing its thing, but as you can see there, and I know that wasn't a serious situation, but if you ever did get into something like that, a snowbank, something that you're worried about driving out of, this thing has all of the controls and buttons to just flick a couple switches and let the electronics do their thing. So there we are, we got out of the ditch. Now let's hit the road and I'll tell you everything else about this GX.
Under the hood of this Lexus, and the only engine option available, is a 4.6 liter V8 making 301 horsepower and 329 pound-feet of torque. Now, I think this thing really shows its age by its transmission. Yes, this is just a 6-speed automatic, and there is no doubt that the GX here could use a few more gears.
So how does the power feel? Well, I'm at a red light. Here goes green, punching it. And it's underwhelming. This 4.6 liter V8, I can't find too many good things to say about it, to be totally honest. Power off the line doesn't feel that great. This truck does weigh over 5,100 pounds, so it's not exactly light, but even still, 300 horsepower out of a 4.6 V8, it should be making more power and more torque. In today's day and age, it's just not enough, and honestly, it really does come to life at about 4,000 RPM, I will give it that. So when you step on it, you get the downshift, the revs shoot up, and yeah, then it's not too bad, but down low in the rev range, there just doesn't feel like there's enough power, and the shifts aren't particularly quick either on this 6-speed automatic. So I don't know, guys, I just have to say the powertrain to me has been underwhelming.
So what's the fuel economy like? Well, I actually did a 100-mile road trip just yesterday, so let me cut that in right here so you can see the real-world fuel mileage.
Okay everybody, time to fuel up this GX and check it out.
Yep, this thing is premium recommended anyways. I mean, it says only. So we gotta go ahead and put premium in her. And there's the first click. Now we wait 30 seconds for the fuel to settle. Go to the next click, then we hit the road. Boom, all right, now she's all filled up. Okay, everybody, we're back where we started. So let's fill this GX back up and see how she did on fuel economy. Boom, there it is, all filled up. All right, everybody, and we've done our fuel economy loop, so let's take a look. We did a total of 174 kilometers, and we managed 13.6 liters per 100. Now, keep in mind, that's at an average speed of 56 kilometers an hour, and that is almost all highway driving on a 400 series highway. So that 13.6 is pretty much best case scenario, but now I did fill up, so let's go ahead and do the math ourselves. So if you see right here, you can see we used 22.952 liters of fuel. So we're gonna go ahead and take our calculator and do 22.592, divide that by our distance, which once again is 174.6. And then you go ahead and you multiply that number by 100, like so. Once my camera decides to focus here, there it is. And that brings us up with a total of 12.93 liters per 100 kilometers. So once again, this thing's actually saying we did quite a bit better, basically 13 even once you round up. So this thing's saying we did 13. The actual computer here is saying that we did 13.6, so not too bad for such a big SUV, especially considering, once again, that's all highway. You're not going to get much better than that. Now, for all my US folks, let me go over here and I'll change up the settings, units. We go down to MPG. So you can see right away our trip was 108 miles. And our fuel economy total was 17.3 miles per gallon at an average speed of 35 miles per hour. Well, this thing is a beast, and I gotta tell you, that's what you get for full-time four-wheel drive. This thing is always powering all four wheels, and that just means your fuel economy is never gonna be great. And for reference, here's what the EPA says that this thing should get. 16 combined, 19 highway, and 15 city. Well, we actually beat that combined number at 17 miles per gallon, but once again, that's all highway driving, so it would have been nicer to get closer to 19. Still, one of the most unique features on the GX has to be the fact that not only can you pop the glass open individually, like so, but you also swing the tailgate. This thing is side hinged, unlike most vehicles today, which are hinged at the top. But here's what I don't get, Toyota. Why didn't you move it over to this side for the North American market? If I'm parked at the curb downtown, when I open my rear, I'm not gonna be able to get anything without walking around. It would have made a lot of sense to move the gate over. However, for world markets, I know this makes sense, especially on places they drive on the other side of the road, and this thing is sold around the world. And yes, everybody, the GX is a 3-row, although this 3rd row is tiny. I'm just gonna fold that carpet back up just enough so you can see it. That load cover right there would have to be moved too. But up here on the rear pillar, there are buttons you hold up, and the power seat comes on up. Now, legroom back there is tiny, just over 25 inches of legroom, so honestly not enough for an adult, but it is good to know that the GX here does have a 3rd row if you need it, and then not a bad amount of cargo space, which is, I'm sure, what most people will be using most of the time. Another unique system that I want to highlight on this GX is the Kdss. That is the Kinetic Dynamic Suspension System. Essentially, Kdss is an active sway bar paired with active damping. So inside the cab, you have a little toggle switch with 3 settings. You have comfort, a mid setting, and then sport. Now, when you put it into sport, that active roll bar is gonna make sure you get very little body roll, plus the dampers are going to stiffen up to make sure that when you're cornering, this thing is nice and flat. On the flip side, put it down into comfort, and that active roll bar on the Kdss is gonna allow this thing to roll through the corners, and the damping is gonna really back off. Now, I found a perfect rutted out uneven road to show you guys the differences, plus I'm gonna get a camera right on that active sway bar so you can see it in action. Here it is.
Now let me show you Kdss. So I've got this empty back road here. It is kind of ice covered, but it is pretty warm today, so it's a bit slushy, so traction's not bad. But what's important is there's tons of potholes, it's really uneven, and I'm gonna do some back and forth slalom to show you guys the differences in the suspension. So first of all, we have it set in comfort mode. This is gonna be the softest, lots of body roll. Let's see it. So the Kdss will make sure that it allows maximum body roll, and you really can feel it. I'm gonna start doing a bit of slalom now. Oh yeah, this thing is so floppy when it's in comfort mode, just flopping down the road, and you can really feel the body roll. And you know what? This is the setting which is nice for a road like this, and it's pretty decent for off-roading as well, because it really sort of swallows up what's underneath you, offers you the most comfort. But after a while, it actually gets a little bit annoying on-road because it's so loose and so soft. I've been leaving it in the center position because it's a little bit in between. Now let me show you what that looks like. Okay, now center position, and here we go. So let's get up to 40 kilometers an hour. And oh, right away you can feel the difference. Yeah, this thing is not nearly as soft. The steering is quicker to react, but still pretty comfortable. And that's why I said this has actually been the setting I've been driving in. Oh yeah. It is icy out here, guys. And I gotta tell you, doing this slalom, the traction control system here in the GX, you probably saw it right there, is also doing an exceptional job. The second I get a little bit out of line, this thing just grabs the ABS on the inside wheel and pulls me back straight. And this test is showing me something else, and it's something that I've already sort of known, but let me sort of emphasize for you. This GX is just so sure-footed. You know, this is a sloppy, snowy, icy road, and it's been no issue. I'm in full-time four-wheel drive here. There is no other setting, so you never have to worry about wheel slip. When you're taking off, you don't have to baby it. You can really punch it. It stays nice and straight and really gets the power to the ground. Yeah, I'm showing you the suspension, but this icy road is also just showing me exactly how capable this Lexus feels in adverse conditions like these. And finally, we have sport mode. So once again, I can punch the throttle, this thing takes off. Oh wow, and now you really feel every little bump in the road. Oh man, let's do a little slalom here. The steering feels way tighter, handling really gets a lot better, but it gets quite stiff actually. And like I said, this is a rough road, and suddenly you feel every little bump, every little imperfection. But for an SUV that weighs over 5,000 pounds, it's actually pretty impressive how stiff it gets. And throw this thing into a corner on the dry pavement, it's actually not gonna feel half bad. So it's always nice to be able to choose what you want, and this GX gives you a ton of choice, including exactly how stiff you want it to be. Another feature that is new for 2020 that I have to demonstrate has to do with the cameras. So first, let me show you all the cameras, and then I'll show you the new underfloor view. So first of all, to get this view that you're looking at right here, you have to be down in 4 low. When you're in 4 high, you just get a front and a rear view. You don't get this mode. Now, once you go to 4 low, you automatically get this setup: a front view, the side views down the side of the truck, and the inclinometer come up automatically. You press any of those views and you can get this view too, a bigger front view, and then the smaller side views. Now first, let me show you something I like here. So you can see the active guidelines for your wheels. When you turn them far enough, watch this, they actually transfer over here, and then they will show you where your wheel will be going beside the truck. Over here, you crank it all the way, and once again, and now here's what I want you to pay attention to. There's the front wheel. This is the rear wheel. So it's actually showing you your line for your rear wheel rather than your fronts. That is definitely pretty cool. Now let me show you another new view for 2020, and that is the underfloor view. So here on my screen, you press this button here, and again, you have to be in 4 low for this to work. Now you can actually see everything inside this blue line is underneath the vehicle, plus it shows you where your wheels are under the vehicle as well when you turn them. Now if I roll slowly forward, you'll see how it works. No, there are no cameras underneath. Watch. It actually takes a photo every so often and then superimposes the outline of the vehicle onto that photo to show you what is underneath the vehicle. Now coming up right here, you can see I've laid this towel down in the road. It's this junky towel I carry with me. It's got a little pineapple on it, and let's see how accurate this thing is. So let's go a little further forward. Little further, there. So now it's showing me, and it's a little bit of a funny view now, and the angle changes, that the towel is right at the back of my driver's side wheel. Actually, let's go just a little bit further forward, there. So now the towel should be right at the back of my driver's side wheel. Let's hop out, I'll show you on the GoPro. Let's go see if it's there. And let's see where it is down here. Boom, there's my towel there. So it's not exactly behind the front wheel, but not too bad. And it might not be a perfect science system because there's no cameras underneath, but it's still pretty neat to be able to get a sense for what's underneath your vehicle when you're off-road. But there's actually 2 more buttons I want to show you guys. Down here to the right of the steering wheel, we have ECT second, and then we have a center differential lock. So first of all, this lower one, yes, this thing has a center diff lock. The front and rear differentials cannot be locked, but you can lock the center. Now, that is a Torsen limited slip center diff, and it normally splits power 60-40, so 60 to the rears and 40 to the front. If you lock it up, well, then you're gonna get a nice even 50-50 split front and rear. Now, the other button here, like I mentioned, is ECT second, and you'll see up here it says second start. So it's pretty self-explanatory. That just means that this thing will actually start in second off the line, and let me show you why that's a good thing. So why would you want to start in second? Well, let me show you. I'm here on this snowy road. I don't have second start on, which means it's starting in first. I got it in drive. Let me hit the gas pretty aggressively. Oh yeah. So it is full-time 4-wheel, but you still get wheel spin off the line. The traction control had to kick in there and make sure it kind of came to my rescue to save the day. Now, if you want to keep things extra smooth, well, then you put it in second start. So now I'm gonna hit the ECT second button, and let me spin around, and I'll show you what this takeoff looks like, and it's gonna look a lot different than that last takeoff. Now, this is pretty specifically a snow feature, I guess also rain, maybe in mud you might like it to maybe not get too much wheel spin, but especially in the snow, this is definitely going to work the best. So I'm gonna pull up here, park in my same spot, right here. So now I have second start turned on. So now it's gonna start in the second gear. Same thing, I'm in drive, I'm gonna punch it aggressively, let's see how it feels. Wow, it is, it's a world of difference. No wheel spin there whatsoever. It was just a nice, smooth takeoff, even though I punched the throttle. So having that second start just makes sure that things are gonna stay nice and calm, especially when you don't want those wheels out there slipping. The other thing we need to talk about is the price. So here in Canada, this Lexus GX only has one option package, and of course we have it here. It's the executive package. It costs an extra $6,000, and for that $6,000, you're getting the underfloor view, you're getting the nicer leather seats, you're getting a cool box down here in the center console. Yes, there is a small fridge in here. It's a pretty neat little feature. So there is only one option box to check, and that's because this thing comes fairly loaded straight from the base model. Now, once you load it up, and I can show you the build sheet here, this thing costs $85,000 here in Canada.
Well everyone, my time with the GX is just about up, and I think I've figured out this SUV. For $85,000, you can get luxury SUVs with better interior technology and more updated powertrains. But you know what you can't get? A body-on-frame luxury SUV with a focus on off-roading for $85K. That just doesn't exist. This thing will hang on trail with things like Range Rovers and G-Wagons, but those machines are thousands of dollars more expensive. So in that light, this GX actually looks like a bit of a bargain. Now, if you're a city slicker, what this thing is going to deliver is sure-footed driving in any weather situation, and especially if you stay on road, this GX will get you out of anything you can get yourself into. So everyone, that's it for this video. Make sure you go below, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the GX, hit like and hit subscribe while you're down there, and then come right back to the channel for the latest news, views, and real-world reviews. See ya.